I wrote this poem very recently, as in yesterday, and it was inspired by a video of my own faults and shortcomings and misunderstandings I've had about a lot of things. And yes, it's called What Would Jesus Do by Victoria Simpson. Being a Christian in the 21st century is so hard. I mean, Jesus didn't have to go through things like this. I mean, that's why I like the question, what would Jesus do? Because it covers the bases that, the Bible sort of missed. Like when you go to Wendy's and they get your order wrong 2 times. I mean, I'd already had a long day. I've been working so hard, so why aren't things going my way? But how could Jesus relate to that? Or when it's getting pretty serious with that special someone and you want to move in already. I mean, it's official. He said we're going steady, and we know that eventually we're going to get married. So how could Jesus relate to that? Did he even have a woman in his life other than Mary? And sometimes I'm honestly curious about what's going on in other people's lives. I mean, it's not technically gossip if I was just wondering whether or not Bill's going to divorce his wife. And besides, Jesus told stories about people in the Bible all the time. So what would Jesus do? Well, I think he wouldn't mind. And we all know a lot of people shouldn't go to Walmart dressed the way they do. I'm not passing judgment, but we all know it's true. If we could take the time to put on real pants, then why couldn't they? It's like they showed up doing a square dance when we were ready for a fancy ballet. Did they even have fashion in Jesus' time? I mean, I think they all looked the same. Sandals and robes, I mean, how plain. And don't even get me started on social networking. I mean, talk about frustrating. Every time anything happens to me, I have to go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine. It's a lot of pressure to have all of that on me all the time. And Jesus didn't even have electronics, so I guess his only entertainment was his mind. So how do I know what Jesus would do? What would Jesus do? It's a good question that has good intent, but it really worries me how much time is spent putting Jesus in a hypothetical bubble. And you see, every time we get confused or we run into trouble, we start thinking what he would do and ignore what he has done. See, the would seem to imply to me that he's dead, which is water that I'm not even willing to tread because I know it's not true. And we all know that he died for me and that he died for you, but what some people seem to keep forgetting is that he came back. The pure white Lamb of God took hold of the black coal that was our sin and rubbed it on him as if it was a bar of soap. It was freezing outside. We had no chance of gaining warmth, and he covered us with his coat. And yes, he went down to the grave, and that's where some people think he stayed, but I don't know what they're thinking, because as far as I'm concerned, he bounced right back as if he were a slinky. So I don't need to ask, what would Jesus do? Because he's not dead, he's alive. He's the reason I always reach my destination after my daily morning drive. He knows me too deeply because he's living within me, and he's the reason that I'm breathing. He's constantly watching, he's constantly seeing, and he's constantly protecting. So the question isn't, what would Jesus do? The question is, what is Jesus doing? Thank you.